We're back on the tailgate, ready for another episode of Schuck on a Truck. I'm Muddy River Sports Editor Matt Schuckman. We are hanging out at Berrien Lake over in Northeast Missouri, ready to talk some football with one of my good buddies, Jason Killday, offensive coordinator for the Truman State football team, a guy that, kind of like me, loves the outdoors.
Yeah.
We're sitting here at this beautiful lake. We should have our fishing poles in hand.
We should.
Casting lines. I mean,
you brought yours. I was unprepared.
Well, I had it in the truck from the other day, and I always try to keep stuff in the truck.
Yeah, I should have brought mine. I wasn't thinking.
Oh well, that's all right. We got to talk about football, and you got to concentrate on football because it's time for your guys to report.
Yeah, it's time to put the toys away. So it's time to go to work.
As we tape this, we're a day away from your players reporting.
Yep.
Kind of get the juices going, knowing the guys are going to be back on campus.
Yeah, the juice is going. A little bit of anxiety, a little bit of flutter in your chest as it's here. It's less than 24 hours. They'll be on campus. So.
What do you like about those first few days of when the guys get on campus and then you get to some things started?
The main thing's the energy. The energy that they have. They're ready to get rolling. We're ready to get rolling, and it's just football. That's all it is in fall camp. There's nothing else. It's practice, it's meetings, it's walkthroughs, it's lifting, it's conditioning, it's all those things, but it's just football. There's no other distractions.
No classes at the time. Probably for most of them, if not all of them. No girlfriends on campus or those kind of distractions.
Yep.
They're hanging out, they're bonding.
Yep.
They're doing things together outside of practice, eating dinner together and all those things. It truly is an injection of football.
That's all it is. It's just us, in meetings, at practice, all those things.
How much does that help build the team chemistry those first few days where it is just you guys?
I think it's a huge part of it, and with the way fall camp's been shaved down and you have 2-a-days and all those things. It's a small window, but it's an important window, and more importantly for those guys that you're going to find out relatively quickly, not just coaches but also their teammates of who prepared this summer.
Yeah.
And who did.
With that in mind, how many of your guys, and that's a number, is there a large number that stay in Kirksville, a small number? Do most of them go home for the summer?
Most of them stay.
Okay.
Most of the 2 deep was there. Most of our veterans have made a serious commitment this summer.
Well, and that's important that they're committed to the program. But you have good veteran leadership. You got guys coming back who have been a part of the program, not just 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, who are committed to this program.
Correct. They're committed to the program, but they're committed to each other.
Yeah.
There's definitely a sense of not letting each other down. And if you're going to be there, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and pulling on the rope together.
Do you like the way this team? Obviously, you're going to find out more in the coming days. But the initial team chemistry that you expect to see when they arrive, do you like what this team has?
I do. They're great dudes. Let's start there. They're good people.
Yeah.
They're competitive, not just on the football field, but they're competitive in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So winning's important to them in all aspects.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to them what they're playing.
Right.
Football, obviously, but intramural basketball, they can go out and play bags. They're going to want to win.
Yeah.
We do a Thursday in season. We'll do a Thursday trash can toss with the quarterbacks. It started with the quarterbacks.
Okay.
It's quickly grown to anybody who thinks they can throw a football. So you'll have 20 guys trying to win it. They're trying to make it in the trash can, and it doesn't matter what we do. They're going to compete at it.
Do you get involved?
I do.
Can you make it in the trash can still?
I've made it once or twice. Coach Nesbitt, Kellen, Nesbitt, he'll jump in. They get a little upset because we're always trying to move the foul line a little closer.
Of course.
They always want the 20-yard throw, and we're trying to get it to 10. But on that first throw every time, it hurts a little. But
well, that's just because we're getting a little older.
Correct.
I
think the balls have gotten heavier.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
Now, okay, you mentioned Coach Nesbitt as in Kellen.
Yep.
Defensive coordinator, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The other Coach Nesbitt, Greg, his dad, the head coach, does he jump in and get involved in those things?
He's a spectator in that one. Heckler at times.
That doesn't surprise me.
He'll let you know, good and bad.
Yeah.
But he observes on that one.
I've had the privilege of knowing Coach Nesbitt for a lot of years. Obviously, when he coached high school football in Columbia was when I was in Columbia, when he was coaching at Hickman. So got to cover his teams then. Had the privilege of knowing him since his Hannibal days. Phenomenal dude, in my opinion. One of the nicest guys you'll meet. What's it like to work alongside a guy that is that respected by peers?
Well, one, it's intense.
I bet.
It can be intense, just from the standpoint of he is truly a guy, maybe the best I've ever seen at talking the talk and walking the walk.
Mm-hmm.
What he says he's going to do, he's going to do it. And he holds people accountable, not in a way that's intimidating. It's just, hey, you got a job to do. And
right.
So as a coaching staff, we toe the line in terms of, man, we're not going to let that guy down.
Yeah.
Because he's done it at such a high level for such a long time, and he's done it the right way. And that filters to our players. You kind of see that of just there's no lack of accountability in our program.
Yeah.
And it starts at the top and filters its way down.
At some point this fall, we're going to have to get him on Schuck on a Truck.
All you got to do is ask.
Because I know he's got stories.
Oh, yeah. He can go now.
He can, yeah. And I know he can talk, and I know he likes to talk. He and I have had great conversations over the years. And, again, you look at his leadership, his influence on the program. Then you look at his son, Kellen, and you, and the leadership and influence you guys have. It's quite a crew leading Truman State. And I think that's part of why you're successful is you got strong leadership. But it comes back to family. Family's the other big reason you're successful, isn't it?
It is. And for, obviously, Coach Ness played there.
Yeah.
He went to school there. And Kellen, being Coach Ness's son, there is such a family aspect there.
Mm-hmm.
Even at the golf tournament in the summer, our alumni golf tournament, there's so many people that either played with Coach, or coached with Coach.
Right.
That come back. And for the first few years, it's a little bit, you're kind of an outsider.
Yeah.
You didn't go to Northeast.
Right.
You didn't go to Truman. You didn't play for Coach. You're kind of a hired gun at this point. But once you make your way in, you're in the family.
Yeah.
And
you're in the family now.
You're in the family now. Show up, you pay your dues, you do the best job you can do for the team, and kind of earn your stripes.
Well, and I know family's important to you. You and Steph have 2 kids who are part of the Kirksville Truman community. I know, I've seen Taylor, your daughter Taylor, on the field or on campus and that kind of stuff. And I'm sure the same will be Trey when he's up and walking and doing those things. How important is it to you to keep them part of that community, part of that family?
Well, I think it's...
Or to teach them that?
It's a unique experience, I think, if you're a coach's kid. My dad didn't coach.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a coach's kid, so I didn't have that life. Now, my brother was old enough, and my sister, they were in college, and they were at Illinois College at McMurray.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of would tag along to, Mark Grounds played, head coach of Jacksonville, played with my brother.
Yeah.
And he was I was in the dorm. I was in Coach Grounds' dorm when I was 5 years old. So he's known me since then. So it's a unique deal. And now Coach Grounds and I would consider friends. And it started all the way back at the dorm suites down at Illinois College when I was 6 years old.
That's awesome.
So, but for Taylor, right now it's been a really cool experience, I think, to be around our guys. Just to go on a Sunday morning, in June, and she wants to run on the Stokes field, or go throw rocks into the creek behind Red Barn, or harass squirrels on the quad. I mean, we spend 2 hours chasing squirrels.
Chase birds.
Chase birds or squirrels.
Yeah, it's a squirrel, either one.
Yep.
Yeah.
She hasn't caught one yet, but we're working on it.
But, you mentioned not being a son of a coach, but you're a son of a guy who has introduced you to so many other things, i.e. outdoors. Like, well, we're sitting here at Bering Lake talking about throwing our lines in the water. That's because we both grew up doing that.
Correct.
Correct. And so there's a lot of aspects to family, not just football, that come into play there.
Correct. And he, I think I've seen my dad fish once, but he was, he worked 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Church was on Sunday. And on Sunday, we were figuring out a way to get everything else around the house that needed to get fixed. But he, the rest, my brother-in-laws, my brothers, we're going to be doing something outside.
Yeah.
We definitely we're going to be sitting inside.
Yeah, and I don't mean just fishing, but it's outdoors.
Yeah, outdoors. And, I try to take to hunting. And it's just, I'm good. I need something a little bit more fast-paced than that.
See, and see, I'm just the opposite. I love deer hunting more than anything else. I'll go duck hunting, and obviously we're in August, so it's squirrel season.
Yep.
Don't tell Taylor that. But there's something about sitting in a deer blind and that wait and then that anticipation that I've loved since Dad started taking me when I was little, and my older brothers, went with us, and you're from a family of 7, I'm from a family of 6.
Yep.
Kind of know what family means.
Correct. And I laugh because actually I talked to my brother John on the way over, and then I talked to my brother Joe briefly, and 2 totally different conversations. My brother John, we talked about everything but football, and first question Joe asked me is, "Hey, what's the first play of practice? What time's report date? All those things."
I believe the first play of practice is run.
Yeah, no doubt.
but having those influences, the different kind of influences, allow you to relate to different kinds of kids when they get on campus, doesn't it?
It does.
Or in the recruiting process.
In the recruiting process, it is a big family, different experiences for all of them, and just there's a little bit of just figure it out. That my dad had kind of passed down to us.
Mm-hmm.
He might not give you the exact definition of what he wants done, but he's going to want it done. And you're going to have to figure it out. So
that's right.
That's a little bit, it kind of goes into recruiting a little bit, not telling kids what they want to hear, but just finding a way to relate to them.
Yeah.
There's kind of a Gumby approach of getting that.
Well, my dad's name is Jerry.
Okay.
So we always refer to fixing things and stuff. If you didn't know exactly how to do it, but figured out how to get it done, you jerry-rigged it.
Okay, there you go.
So, because Dad was great. Dad fixed things all the time, still does.
Yeah.
But every now and then he'll jerry-rig it, and you learn to do that. And I find myself doing similar things in similar circumstances.
Yep. No, it's we called it my dad's Terrence Joseph. We call it TJ. I TJ'd it.
Yep.
And that really meant it's going to be over the top.
Yeah.
I built some shelves for the garage, and there's more. There are more screws in that shelf than there needs to be. But it's the same way my dad would have done it. So.
What are you looking forward to most as practice gets going?
Just being out of guys. Be back in a quarterback meeting room with those guys and those relationships, and the inside jokes, that just the inside stories, and ribbing each other, giving each other a hard time, competing with each other, and just being around the guys. They're an incredible group of individuals, not just quarterbacks, but entire team. They're highly competitive.
Yeah.
On the football field, in the classroom, every walk of life, they're competing.
You got a little bit of a challenge. You got to replace a first-team All-American in the backfield.
Yeah. Yep.
But for Cody Schrader, moved down the road to Mizzou to try to chase his dream, which you applaud. You applaud a kid that wants to go chase his dream. Obviously, I know you're going to miss him, but you got other guys ready to step in, and you're going to build an offense no matter who's there, right?
Correct. And for Cody, coming out of high school in the recruiting process, he thought he was going D1. So he got the rug pulled out from underneath him, and he ended up at Truman State, and good for us. And he came out and he proved himself, and at the end of the year, him and Coach sat down. And he said, "I just want the opportunity to play at the highest level, which you can appreciate."
Yes.
And we get that, and we're going to applaud him every step of the way. He had a great spring game.
Yep.
So we'll be pulling for him. And then on the flip side of it is, he's gone, and people come and go.
Yeah.
So the next guy's got to step up, and it's always been a next man up mantra. More importantly for us is our entire offensive line's back.
Yeah. That's huge.
So
that's huge.
Those guys are ready to roll, and we're going to hand it to somebody.
Yeah.
So cream's going to rise to the top. We'll figure out who that's going to be, and keep on plugging.
But you've been able to do that consistently, whether it's been running back, quarterback, receiver, offensive line, and then Coach Nesbitt on defense the same way, finding pieces here or there to fit what's needed, which is why you guys have won 28 of your last 34 games.
Correct. We've been in a good spot, and I think it's just it doesn't really matter what you run. Yeah. Obviously, there's a million different schemes you can run.
Yes.
If there's one way to do it, everybody would do it that way.
Right.
So it's really about how you teach it, how well you can execute it. Do the kids understand deeply what you're trying to accomplish, or are they just running plays?
Right.
So building it that way of teaching it from the ground up, understand the why behind what we're doing, and how this tag applies and how that tag applies on both sides, all three sides, offense, defense, and kicking game.
Right.
And if you do that, and then talent obviously, at some point has to take over. You got to have good players, and we do. But teaching them the why, making sure they understand that. If we get that in place, and then, as Coach Nez would say, at some point in time, you just got to play harder than the guy next year.
Yeah. Well, and you've said it multiple times, and when you and I have talked, stacking it.
Yep.
If you don't put the foundation down, your stack's going to fall.
Correct.
So if you get the foundation laid here in the first, when camp starts in this coming week, then you can build on it, and next thing you know, by game one, maybe you're ready to roll.
That's the plan, and it starts back in January.
Yeah.
And Coach would always say to some guys, "Hey man, you got a lot of windows in your wall. You haven't laid bricks."
Yeah.
Some guys have built a fantastic, and just daily showing up to work, stacking good meetings. Let's start there. Let's have a great meeting.
Yep.
Let's have a great walkthrough. Let's have some, and you're going to learn some individual skills to help you execute these plays. So make sure you're locked in your individual time. We're going to move to group. Make sure you're locked in and ready to roll on that. And then let's have some. You're going to make mistakes when we get to crosswork and team.
Yeah.
Just don't make the same mistake the next time.
Fix it.
Make a new one.
Yeah.
And take that approach, and one day at a time, and put those bricks in the wall. You're gonna be fine.
Well, I know you guys are picked second in the GLVC preseason poll. Imagine this: UND number one in the preseason poll. It seems like they're always there. It didn't matter who was in the league. I think UND would end up being the preseason number one. So now you just got to go knock them off.
Correct. And that's down the road.
Yeah.
So we'll worry about that when that week comes.
But the fact you guys are second in the GLVC poll means there's expectations. But you can't let those expectations or the preseason poll or anything influence too much of what you do now. You got to concentrate on the moment, right?
Correct. And those expectations of being, as we'll tell our guys, hey, you're number two for what last year's team did.
Yeah.
That's
what it is. Yeah.
So you guys haven't done anything.
Right.
So let's rebuild this from the ground up. Let's learn it correctly. And when we get to game one, you can't win 10 or 11 games until you win one.
Yeah, right.
So don't worry about what's on the back end of it. Let's just focus on the front end.
Well, it's time. It's time to get it going.
It is.
It's about time. I enjoy the summer. I enjoy a little time off.
Yep.
But I've been itching for the last few weeks to let's get this going.
Correct. So it's 4th of July hits, and that's kind of the last.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that you look up and it's report day.
Let's say on report day, do you get up in the morning, kiss Steph goodbye, and say see you in November?
She might kiss me goodbye, and I say I'll see you in November. She might be ready for me to get out of the house.
But you know what? I know I'll hear from her throughout the season.
Yep.
We communicate, especially on game day, which is great.
Yep.
And obviously, I'll be following along every week.
No, she'll be ready, and unfortunately, most of the time kickoff happens right when Taylor's nap time.
Yeah.
So she's normally streaming it if she can't make it to the stadium,
which is awesome.
Pulling along.
I know she's got your back.
Yep.
I know there's a lot of people in this area got your back, and there's a lot of people in this area that are excited about Truman football.
Well, we hope.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes back to the vision of Coach Nez and the type of kids we bring in.
Yeah.
We're going to do it the right way, and we're going to play hard. We're going to try to put a good product on the field.
And I think you guys have a nice mix of local talent. You got some Quincy kids. There's been some Hannibal kids. There's some Northeast Missouri kids. And then some beyond the region kids. You go St. Louis, Kansas City, and even some guys from beyond those circles.
Yep.
So I think you got a nice mix of what a college football team needs to be. Correct. Certainly in Northeast Missouri.
Correct. And obviously Coach has been in Northeast Missouri he's Mr. Northeast Missouri now at this point.
He is.
Hank may not agree with that, but
Hank's been yeah, you're right.
It'd be close.
It'd be close.
With where I've been in the recruiting process, I've had the same recruiting area now for 15 years.
Right.
So being able to navigate those roads and know who's who and where. So those small schools in Illinois, small schools in Missouri with Coach, and then Kellen's been recruiting St. Louis now for 8-10 years. You know, so
right.
There's a lot of familiar faces along that path,
which is a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Yeah. Speaking of familiar faces, I know you guys get to sneak away sometimes on Friday nights, get out to some high school football games within a certain radius, obviously, because you'll be playing on Saturdays. Week 1 of the Illinois high school football season, are you going to sneak over to Central Illinois for the final Leonard Bowl?
I just actually talked to Derek last night, and I had forgotten they're going to open up against each other.
Yeah.
And
I had too, and so I saw somebody put it on Twitter. 21 days from the first Leonard Bowl, and I went, whoa, wow, that's the opener. I forgot.
And in true Derek fashion, he's coming back from Vegas. Last night, he didn't seem too stressed, and he actually said, hey, it's in his eyes, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's week 1, and it's done. There's no build up to it. There's no anxiety. So
well, and because there's going to be, and we're talking about Sacred Heart Griffin coach Ken Leonard, Rochester coach Derek Leonard. This is Ken Leonard, the winningest football coach in Illinois history. This is his final season.
Yep, he's done.
He's done. So father and son are going to go head-to-head week 1. But every week for Ken's going to be a celebration because every week it's his final game against somebody, more than likely, unless he would meet him again in the playoffs. But it's going to be an interesting season for him emotionally and keeping his guys in check.
Yeah, it will be. You know, just a game.
Just
a game.
And that's the way he'll approach it.
Yep. And we went, actually, Steph and I and Taylor went over to the playoff game with Ken and Derek, and that was a very unique atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, and I know you're close with the family. I know them somewhat. You know, I consider friends with them because I know them. I can talk to them when I see them and stuff. Phenomenal family, phenomenal guys, and great ambassadors for the sport.
Correct. Again, another group of guys that they do it the right way. You know, it's about family.
Yeah.
It's about people. It's about relationships. You know, ultimately it's about competing.
Yeah.
You know, so there'll be a moment for them, I'm sure, going into that game. But when you tee it up, man, it's go time.
And when that final horn sounds and the final play is done,
it's over.
They'll go give each other a hug and it's over. Move on to week 2.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
kind of like you guys here. As soon as day 1's done, you move on to day 2 and get it going.
Correct.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to this. This is going to be a great football season.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. You know.
You hope so.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to hang out. And
appreciate you coming over.
It's been great. And for Truman State Offensive Coordinator Jason Killday, I'm Muddy River Sports Editor Matt Schuckman. This has been another episode of Schuck on a Truck. Join us next time. I guarantee we'll be talking more football.